It's a sad Sunday, Caleb. Austin, what's going on? I'll wait while everybody gets in here. Enjoy my Givali River Trio. I'll be right back. We'll let this go for a while as everybody gets in here. What's going on, Robert? What's going on, Go Dogs? We're going to share the good word up in here, Robert. Also brought something for the YouTube world. This may be too early, Caleb. I don't know. Ricky, what's going on, man? Randall, Bulldogs Bob, Austin, Mendoza D. Austin, I don't know which Caleb. Since we're both Caleb, I don't know which one that is. Awkward. I warned Pletz that there was going to be some awkward silence in here as everybody gets in here. Into another sad. By the way, this song is Sad Sunday. It's called Sad Sunday. I warned Caleb though that there was going to be, it was going to be slow. There was going to be some silence. I'm letting everybody get in their prayers. Need a sad face on the bag. I know. Tim, what's going on? Austin, whenever you're in town, man, let's. Message me. RIP 2024. Sierra Nevada Sam, what's going on, man? After games like this, we really need this pod. Okay, good, because I'm going to be honest, the baby came this week, by the way, everybody. So baby's 5 days old. Came on the 29th. Baby girl. She's awesome. So my weekend was good in that sense.
I mean, my weekend was also good. I didn't watch the game in its entirety because I was at a friend's wedding, which ended up being good. So I think 3 minutes of Sad Sunday music, I think, is enough. I think we can get this one going.
What's going on, Andy? Good to have you here. Thanks everybody for the congratulations and the woohoos and for the baby. And I heard a lot from you guys as well on social media. And Caleb, thank you. And we once again thank the wives for allowing us to do this, as my wife is now taking on 2 kids while we talk. So pray for me. Oh, I'm going to need to go buy her some gifts. That's what we're going to need. Or we're going to have to start winning. Dogs fall to the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 21-20. Oh, man. Caleb, what did your wife say once they blocked the PAT?
Yeah, I was listening on the radio on the way to the wedding, and so we heard our second touchdown and the blocked point after, and my wife immediately says, we are going to lose by 1 point, and that ended up being the case. So she has suffered through me being miserable through as long as we've been together. So she has figured out how this usually goes at this point.
Oh, man. I will say, man, I rewatched the game today. I enjoyed it. I got to skip through the commercials as much as I could. And I was catching up on everything that was being said online. Was just rereading through what former players, what they were saying. I think we're going to go through a couple of those. Even though we lost, Caleb, but try to, by the way, if you're new to this show, we're not like every other news outlet or things like that. We try to find the positives. We will, but we will address the negatives. Don't worry. So if that's you and you want the honest truth and you're listening post the live stream, head over to YouTube or X. We are live Sunday, 7 p.m. And by the way, we're going to be talking basketball soon because we actually scrimmage was, I believe it was today. Mm-hmm. Scrimmage was this morning. I wasn't able to make it, but we have our home opener coming up against Sac State. We're going to be talking basketball as well. And I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to that. But YouTube, beware of Bulldogs. On X, beware_Bulldogs. We have a lot of fun out here. This chat is awesome. You guys are awesome in the chat. We keep us going. But we got a lot to talk about, Caleb. So what I want to do first is before we go through numbers, we're going to go right to social media because it's going to say everything, how everyone's feeling. This is what I love about posting on X right after the game is because we get the raw emotions right after the game. And some of you may have slept on it and now feel differently. Still going to read it. Sorry, but just let us know in the chat. Okay. So I first want to start off with this, Caleb, and it was my first thought when the game started. Before the PAT was blocked, we wore blue at home with white pants. I knew it wasn't going to go well from the get-go. And so to me, this is what happens when we wear blue. Now, we've won in the past. We had the crazy game against San Diego State. If we wore red, wouldn't have happened, though. We would have just blown them out. We've lost in blue. I don't think we've ever had a dominant win in blue. Now we lose by 1 in blue to Hawaii. I'm done, Caleb. I know you are all about the red. I saw multiple other people say the same thing. No more blue. No more.
I am all for that. I mean, I've been saying this for as long as we've been doing this show that I can't stand all the we're paying too much attention to our jerseys and maybe not enough to preparation or the actual football. Obviously, that's probably just being dramatic here, but like honestly, we are the red wave for a reason. You know, most of the fans are wearing red in the stadium, and our team should be wearing red at home. I mean, it's ridiculous, but yes, I agree with you 100%.
I'm cool with the helmet. I think the helmet is awesome. I really like that helmet.
I agree.
Can we please wear red? Man, dude. Like this right here, what I'm wearing, Fresno State, red wave. I don't care that our secondary color is navy blue. I'm sorry. I'm done with it. No more. Matt says offense has to be more consistent, but the absolute failure of reffing decided this game. There is a lot of comments on the refs. Caleb, put that in your mind. I want to make sure we talk about refs. Let's not skip over that. Single-use plastic offense looks stuck in the mud. Shouldn't have been close enough to that. The referees could affect the outcome. Feels like that is a game Coach Tedford wins by 21 plus. Tyler Valadeo, another season of Bulldog football, another horrendous loss to a team we should never lose to at home. Oh, man, my life. Daniel, his heart is broken. Ray, Fresno State coaching staff, he is not happy with. Curtis Haar, which I saw in the chat, and he said he waits a day to post on X, waits 24 hours to post on X after a loss like this. Smart man. He says, the warning signs have been there all season and discussed almost weekly on the recaps. Special teams mistakes. We have a missed PAT, he says. Mikey's inconsistency, 161 yards on 31 passes. Lack of touches for Bryson, 3. Lack of discipline, 2 defensive penalties on 4th to keep drives alive. I'm notching that one in the brain because I want to talk about lack of discipline and our attitude in this game. I totally agree with Curtis, by the way. Caleb, if you have something that you want to comment on, just please butt in. I'm just going to run through because these can take a while.
Go for it.
Sierra Nevada Sam, who's in the chat. We made a bowl game from 99 to 05. We went 3-4 in those games. We made a bowl game from 07 to 2010. We went 1-3 in those games. Oh, gosh. Sam, this hurts. We made a bowl game from 12 to 14. We went 0-3. We made a bowl game from 21 to 23. Went 3-0. So making a bowl game this year and winning would be the best streak we have had in Fresno State history. And I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Sierra Nevada Sam on X, but go follow him if you aren't. It's Sierra Nevada Sam. He's been putting together, what he thinks is an average season, commendable season, solid, great, excellent, and the dream seasons all on X. And unfortunately, he's slowly been Xing a lot of them off. So now we are down to, in Sierra Nevada Sam's opinion, a commendable season, win a Mountain West bowl game. And by the way, I think we can still win 9 games. Is that correct? If we win the bowl game, we can win 9 games.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, Caleb, that's commendable. Could even be solid, especially with an interim coach, the quarterback who we knew was skating on ice, thin ice. There's a lot of question marks. So 9 wins. I'll keep going. Lou Hewitson with conference champ game out of reach. Time to shake things up at QB. I saw a lot of that. We will talk about that. Phil R. On the drive after the fumble, Woods should be in the game. Instead, they just ran into the mouth of a stacked box. Didn't even try to get a first down. Wood would have kept them honest and provide play action, read option, RPO. Man, that was rough. Interesting fact from Sierra Nevada Sam. Fresno State had never played a bowl game in Texas or Arizona. Sorry, this is probably connected that they're separated here. Fresno State has never played a bowl game in Texas or Arizona, 15 bowl games in California, 6 in Hawaii, 3 in Nevada, 3 in Idaho, and 5 in New Mexico. Seems like all in my lifetime. They've also made 1 appearance in Tennessee. Okay. David S. I wouldn't be upset if Skip is the coach next year, but I'm tired of these old former Fresno State players / coaches from years past. They definitely need to shake the coaching staff up. Or shake up the coaching staff. Caleb, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been trying to think long and hard about how I feel about this. And I think that we need to separate the defense and the offensive coaching staffs because, they're really – the makeup is completely different. Defensive coaching staff is experienced, well-traveled around, to other schools, picking up, lots of things on their journey back home to Fresno State. And guys like J.D. Williams and Jethro Franklin are very well respected within, the coaching ranks. So, with how much experience we have on the defensive staff, and the defense has been carrying this team lately. I don't really feel like we need to tear that down. But if you contrast that to the offense, we have a lot of early stage career guys, young guys, McCann, position coaches like running back coach, Coach Pryor, who hasn't got plucked for a better job. He's been here. I think this is maybe only year 2, but typically the good position coaches are moving up or they're moving around to a better gig. So sometimes it's a bad sign if they aren't moving around. So yeah, I think that good.
Oh, Matt Smith, O-line coach, first year.
Right. Yes. Young guys who are getting their start here, which obviously that I think is helpful to, the dollars and cents bottom line of, I'm sure these guys are the most affordable options out there. The younger guys who are getting their first start. But at this point, I think it's pretty clear that I don't think McCann is quite cut out for this because I think that the offensive coordinator needs to be able to overcome the weaknesses on his offense. Like he should know the weakness of his team, at least with his side of the ball. And there are good coaches that are able to come up with something creative schemes to get their playmakers in space and overcome a weakness like a poor offensive line. That it's at this stage of the season that should be, what is going on here. So, if we're looking to next season and Skipper does get the full-time job, I'm actually okay with that too, because I do think that as a, motivator and personable guy recruiting, I do think that he has positives there. Obviously he cares about the university and this team, but I see a lot of question marks on the offensive side. I would like to give Matt Smith a chance to stick around because I really don't think the poor offensive line is his fault. I mean, he's just dealing with the cards that he's dealt. But I mean, other than that, I wouldn't mind cleaning house and trying to get some new philosophy here. And it's going to have to be someone who has their own philosophy with a defensive minded head coach. I mean, the offensive coordinator, he's responsible for the performance of the offense.
100% agree. What is the, I mean, I'll just ask you this. I have my answer, but there's one thing that has changed offensively from last year. Well, two things. Tedford's gone. Mm-hmm. But with the guys that are here, the only thing that's changed is McCann. That's McCann calling plays from the sideline. I'd say we got to get him in the booth. Go back to the booth. That's what I think. And I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is something to say for that. I mean, he likes celebrating on the sideline with the players, which I'm sure he's popular with. His wide receiver group that he's still overseeing, but I think that maybe the coordinator should be a little bit removed from that and maybe trying to think, about the next series or, a couple plays ahead and, playing out the scenarios there and not being worried about, celebrating with with his wide receivers.
So my grandpa came over today to see his new great granddaughter, and the first thing out of his mouth was bulldog talk. Right? We love talking Bulldogs together. And I will cherish it forever. But do you know what he said? He said, you know what they need is they need a motivator. When I watch TV, he doesn't go to the games. When I watch the TV and I see the coaches on the sidelines, I don't see any motivators. And we've talked about this in the past. Like I've questioned, where's the leadership coming from? It doesn't look like we really have a solid, this is our leader. He said Skip, and right, the older generation, they love Skip. Absolutely love him. And I like Skip. He's a great guy. We talked about this. We want Skip to be successful, but he has to be a motivator. The head coach has to be the motivator, and then they can go to McCann or and the assistant coaches to be their buddies. But Skip offensively, even if he doesn't know offense, he has to be the motivator. On especially defense, he needs to be the motivator. So I agree with Grandpa. He's got to be. Skip has to be a motivator. We can't have. He's the leader. We can't have Jethro and JD, who are wonderful motivators and great people and a wealth of knowledge. They're not driving the ship. He has got to be that guy. So I think that first off has to come from Skip. 2, did you see what AJ McCarron said about the Alabama team?
No, I did not.
He said these guys care too much about effing TikTok. And I think that goes for most colleges and most teams, for most athletic programs. And I would say that to our team, because I see way too much going on from I see way too much care about the name on the back of the jersey rather than the front. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. I hate that. So I hate that. So anyways, I think that is a infectious disease. Social media is, and pride. We got to care about the name on the front. And I think that I can't be certain. I haven't heard from anyone. I don't know, but this is my observation and my opinion. I think that is sneaking into our locker room. So anyways, all right, let me keep going. Nick, will things ever change? There's always a letdown game to a poor team stuck in mediocrity. If they're never going to be in contention for a playoff spot, what's the point? Not to mention the fan base that shows up in the second and leaves early in the fourth. It's embarrassing. And I think this goes along with another comment that Curtis had. Nick says, will things ever change? And I think that a lot of it there were a lot of signs before the season even started. We knew what we were getting. We knew we were getting with Mikey Keene. We knew that Tedford wasn't going to be there. I mean, we know the fan base. So in reality, when I look at the facts, I shouldn't be surprised. But the reason I am surprised, Caleb, is we follow this team daily because the roster that we have is so much better than this, in my opinion. Oh, okay, I'll keep going. Okay. Robert Polvido. Refs stole the game from us. Give Skip the job. We should be 6-3. Another thing on the refs. Remember that. Truth Seeker. Fresno State had only 13 offensive plays in the fourth quarter. Pretty much sums it up. Phoenix Jackson is defensive MVP. Oh, by far. Not even close. He's MVP of the game for me. Fire all coaches and start the search committee for a new head coach. Okay, we looked up. They had how many yards in the third quarter?
Third quarter was 28 yards.
28 yards in the third quarter. It was bad. Ricky J. Ricky's in the chat here. Offensive play calling is too conservative. 100%. Whether it's Keene, McCann, or the O-line, that's been our weak spot all year long. Defense has kept us in games all year long, but if offense lacks, defense will get gassed. Mix in Wood or Mandel, and if we keep Skip, find a new OC. And Ricky, this reminds me of what my brother said. We were talking. He goes, how do we expect to win games by scoring 20 points? Excuse me. The offense scored 12. Take away the PATs. We scored 12 points. You're not going to win a game. And the reason I say 12 is because we had a PAT blocked. It's a special teams guy has to do their job too. And with Baxter as special teams coach, what? Man, Jalen Moss scared me multiple times once again, picking up bouncing balls and then on, I believe it was a kickoff return or was a punt return where he just basically stopped and waiting for blockers. That's not how we return the ball. Man, I just can't expect to win games scoring 2 touchdowns on offense. Question, do we now consider a quarterback change and think 2025? Caleb.
I would love to see it. It doesn't seem like the coaching staff is going to do that. I mean, at this point, it feels like the offensive staff is coaching for their jobs if they want to stick around. And I think Mikey's probably the safe pick there for McCann at quarterback to say, okay, he's not going to be a superstar, but he can run the offense competently for the most part. I don't really agree with that, but I'm just guessing this is what McCann's thinking. So, I mean, honestly, just throwing out, if say this week at Air Force, we just decided, okay, Joshua Wood is going to run the ball 25 times. We're going to run the option just like Air Force, and we're going to beat them 10-7. I mean, that would really shake things up and, show that, they aren't just resting on their laurels and content with, the QB1 who has been on, QB1 on the depth chart since, since fall camp. But I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, I'm just scrolling through. I've read 6 comments of firing coaches. Darth Paul says, laid down on the last offensive drive. Coaching scared, won't win games. Is the Skip experiment over? Rudy Cortez, playing to not lose instead of playing to win. And that's not the first time that's happened. Matt, offense sucked, but the Zebras gave Hawaii this win. Jake Donald, I'm effing done with refs dictating games. Done. Doug, offense was completely absent. McCann does a very poor job at balancing the run and pass. 19 yards rushing, by the way. We'll talk about that. This is awful. That is awful. Keene looks scared throwing the ball all night and has no game changer abilities. Ugly loss to a bad Hawaii team. This guy comments, have no opinion on the offense. Didn't see them play. Defense scored a lot of points, though. Scored about half as many points as the offense did. Bradley Taylor says Fresno State beats Hawaii 20-14, implying about the refs. And then Richie Rich comments, last one. Navarez had the refs calling BS penalties against the Dogs, and the offense was MIA. Was this the loss that seals Skipper's fate? Certainly can't be losing to programs like Hawaii and expect to be taken serious. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Navarez was coming after us.
I mean, yeah, that would be quite the scandal there. I know. I've got another just general take here. I mean, after this game, it just feels like we're a middle of the road team, and we got beat by another middle of the road team. Where Hawaii, they have the capability of playing up and playing tough, and then they can also kind of lay down and get smoked. And I think that kind of describes Fresno State too. So that the realism is setting in at this point, where we're a middle of the road team, and we should take care of Air Force. Colorado State, I don't know. They're undefeated in conference. That's going to be a tough one at home. And then at UCLA, who knows? Who knows if they're going to care, if we're going to care. They just beat Nebraska. So, I mean, that one might be tougher than we expected. But I think we're a middle-of-the-road team. And obviously, we're out of contention for a conference championship now. So we'll see what the motivation level is.
Yeah. I want to hit some other headlines, Gale, before we talk. Hey, bud. We talk numbers. I'm trying to keep up with the chat too. They're talking about, hey, Shager is a good quarterback. This was a trap game. We talked last week very quickly about how Shager, I think, ran for 150 yards on the ground. He's also a gunslinger. I mean, like we were supposed to beat these teams, but Shager in Hawaii and Coach Timmy Chang over there, they know what they're doing. Let's talk about the refs, Caleb. Now, I know you're at the wedding, so I'm not sure if you saw the calls that happened or the plays that the penalties happened on. But Cam Lockridge was ejected from this game for targeting, in the fourth quarter. And then you could say they started targeting. Well, I'll say this. Once Cam was out of the game, there was a lack of communication defensively, especially on that last touchdown play. There was a lack of communication on the last two touchdowns. But I want to talk about the targeting call. I mean, it is what it is, but I thought that was a good football play. However, I do want to add, though, you could tell Cam was playing fired up because that's his former team, and he was playing a little too fired up. I mean, we know Cam. Well, we've spoken with him. He's an awesome kid. I love Cam, and he loves to talk smack, which I'm fine with, and I'm also fine with celebrating. But there is a line. Right. And I think you could cross that line to where you end up hurting yourself. And that's what happened. Now, and that happens when you take it out of your hands and you put it in someone else's hands, like the refs. However, I still think it was an iffy call. They were going to get 15 yards either way from the unsportsmanlike. But I don't think that was a targeting hit. Did you see that hit, Caleb?
I did, and I agree. It looked like a football play, and I mean, throwing him out of the game is ridiculous. I mean, I guess maybe if he's hitting him in the head, you can call a flag on that. But yeah, I just hate that call. And now we're down our starting corner for the first half of next game. But yeah, it's tough. And I mean, I don't think we had the best camera angles this game too, with like the Hawaii broadcast as the main one. So I think that probably hurt it too, that there wasn't conclusive evidence the other way.
You're right about Sports Spectrum Hawaii. I'll say this. I think if someone wants to go call Hawaii football games, I think they could go do it. I don't think that job would be too hard to get. It would be fun too. I didn't like that call. I thought that was a terrible call. You look at the targeting on the last play of the game when they crushed Raylan Sharp. That was clearly targeting. And I'm not being biased. That was targeting. That's the definition of it. Cam Lockridge, it looked like he hit the dude's shoulder pads first. And he hit him half with his shoulder pad as well. and then he went up a little bit. It wasn't that bad. It's dumb. Then we had the pass interference on CV in the end zone. Yes, it was a bad call. However, I will say this: if Tua CV turns his head, that's a pick, and it's going the other way. Now we can't do anything offensively, so who knows where it goes? But we got to turn our head. But another terrible call. But we can't put ourselves in these situations. Caleb, I'll let you talk about that PI.
Yeah, I actually watched that play live. I kind of snuck it on my phone during the wedding. But I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew they were going to call a flag on it, just because. Yeah, he was all over him. I mean, it looked like a good defensive play to me, but yeah, I'm not surprised that they called the penalty. Really frustrating, because it did seem like good defense, but like you said, if he turns his head around, then I think that's a different play and a different call. But yeah, that's what these close games come down to. And I mean, I should give credit to Hawaii, because throwing that kind of ball is higher likelihood of drawing a penalty. So I think it does show the experience of Shaker, and letting his wide receiver try to make a play, and if not, try to draw a flag.
Yeah, okay, let me add this to the conversation. So all game on third down, no matter what it was, no, I take that back. On third down, we blitzed, and we sent most of the time 6-7 guys, and it was effective. Granted, sometimes they'd catch the ball and go and get a first down if they did a short, quick pass play, because they started catching on to it later on in the game. But on those plays, Phoenix had the peanut punch, which was great. Granted, he did catch that ball and make a play, but turnover. We forced Shager into a lot of quick decisions, forced him out of the pocket, caused a fumble. I mean, we did well blitzing. Okay, on third down, we did that a lot. All of a sudden, they got into the red zone, and Coyle had everybody sitting in zone. And to be honest, I don't really know zone or man. There was a lot of miscommunication, so I couldn't tell what play was actually called. But we blitzed 4 guys. All game, we're blitzing 6, 7, and then all of a sudden we get in the goal line and we let Shager sit back there and do his thing. So there's something else to think about.
Yeah.
As well as on a couple, I don't remember which drive it was, they converted 2 fourth downs. There was it was a 4th and 1 or 4th and 3. So we blitzed all out, I believe, on 3rd and 10. I think we blitzed 6 guys. And then 4th and 3, 4th and 1, we blitzed 4 guys. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know what Coyle was doing. Granted, I don't have that mind, that defensive mind. So I don't know what he's thinking. I think trying to keep everything in front of us, make a play. But I didn't like it. I liked it when we brought pressure, especially, and I do like bringing pressure, especially in short yardage situations. So anyways. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. We talked about refs. Caleb, what was the other thing?
Oh, I thought that was the only one.
Well, it was kind of attitude.
Yeah.
So Tua CV had the taunt, and Corey Freeman taunted too with him, standing over him after he lit him up. Saw a lot of guys yapping, which I'm fine with, but do it appropriately. Don't get caught, as my dad would always say. I don't care what you do, just please don't get caught. I don't want to know. I didn't do anything bad. Never did anything bad. But that's a dumb penalty. That's really dumb. And it's that me mentality. I didn't like it, and I saw more of it than I'm used to. I don't know. Did you see any of that?
Not specifically. I mean, I did see the Tua CV penalty, and it's frustrating, and it feels like Jeff Tedford coach team probably reins that in more. Just because he's more of the disciplinarian head coach, like he's gonna, the players are gonna know the expectation, to not overdo it and cost the team. So, I mean that's a similar, thing that's been happening several games this season, where we're not playing super crisp and letting the emotions get the best of us, and it's ending up being really costly.
Right. And I see you guys in the chat saying, like, hey, Caleb's, this is a rivalry game. You better believe Hawaii was John off as well. Yes, I believe it. I know it. I saw it. But there is a standard that I think most teams should be held to where we're going to be better character-wise than this other team. So don't let them get to you. Yep. So and Cole asked, what did Pastor Rick say before the game, Caleb? I don't know, but he needs to go tell him again. I'm not sure. We'll call Cam Laminuzzi, the team chaplain, right, and see what. So I just don't. Here's what I want. Last thing about it. I don't want it to affect how the boys play. I just want them to do their job, right? I don't care. You talk about if you can talk about their mama. I don't care. But I don't want it to affect the way that you play. And because the two things that you can, that you're in control of, are your effort and your attitude. And I want that to be A+, especially coming from Fresno, where I think it's really cool. Like this is what I think is the coolest thing, is when you punch someone in the face or truck someone, hit them really hard, crush them like Tuasivi did, and just smile at them. And you're basically letting them know you can't stop me. Just smile. Or at thumbs up. Others receiving votes. Thumbs up. Anyways, but those are my thoughts on that. I don't want to. I'm not trying to take away celebrations. I like celebrations, but I don't like doing it over guys. And anyways, we're spending too much time on that. Let's move on. Let's talk numbers, shall we, Caleb?
Yes.
Or do you want to? Okay. Let's talk about quarterback play. Let's start with Mikey Keene. He went 25 for 31, 157 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. What did you think about Mikey's play last night?
I mean, play was okay, but for 25 completions and only 150 yards is, it's almost kind of talented to be able to do that and really not push the ball down the field. So, I don't know if that's just a direct result of play calling and McCann is being extra cautious. I don't know. It's going to be tough with the lack of production that this offense had. It was going to be a really tough game to win. And obviously we didn't come out on top where, Hawaii's offense was able to move the ball and, contrary to Fresno State's offense. But yeah, he's efficient, but not really effective.
I totally agree. I would say the first half, Mikey was fine. He made a really nice pass to Raylan Sharp, over defender right before the safety. I believe they looked like they were in cover 2. Is perfect. He made some really nice throws. Then there were other times where, once again, you're just thinking, and I see it right here. Andy, he didn't stretch the field. Randall didn't stretch the field. So I totally agree. There was one play where a couple guys had some out and up routes, and then we had I think it was a check down, and he took the check down. Where if he threw the ball outside shoulder, that's a catch for 12 yards. We got to take those risks. You have to. So, but there's two things. One, we're not stretching the field, and I don't know why that is, but here's my guesses. Either he can't see him, right? And he's worried about getting the ball there with his arm strength. Or, and in my opinion, it's this, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to take a 5-step drop, load up, and launch it. I would say most of the entire first half, and then half of that third quarter, the first half of that third quarter, I thought he was fine, but the O-line was poor. Pass blocking and run blocking. It was bad. And we can only do so much. So, I'm not, I don't want to say this was a bad game for Mikey, but it's nothing that says, oh, Mikey had some really good throws. He took some risks, because there was none of that. I mean, there was a couple good throws, but he didn't take any risks. Right. So, and can you win? Can Mikey win now? I don't know. Because if he takes those risks and ends up pick, that's a different conversation now. Why did he throw that?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the number one thing when it comes down to Mikey is that he is going to be as good as our O-line. And our O-line is not good right now. And so we're not going to, and that's why, in my opinion, we're not going to see a quarterback change, because I don't think it's really going to make a difference. Like Wood maybe running the ball, maybe he gives us a couple options. I've seen him throw the ball a couple times. Wasn't too impressed with Wood throwing the ball. Maybe Mandel, I'm not sure. But I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. Look, go watch Aaron Rodgers. He can't do anything because his O-line stinks, and it has for a long time in New York. So I don't think there's much that we can do if we can't block.
Right. And maybe someone in the chat can help me with this, but I did see late in the game Spomer was in playing some left tackle. So I obviously wasn't watching most of the game, but I mean, was he in for a good chunk, or is that late trying to give some help to the O-line that we can kind of crowdsource this one? Or Caleb, if you picked up on that.
Sorry, I was reading. I thought I saw Spomer in. I do know Spomer will be back. I'm pretty sure he was in. But one guy, is Spomer gonna be the difference, Caleb?
Not with other weaknesses. I mean, hopefully that's something that can be improved, but it's definitely not going to be the magic switch.
All right. Rushing stats. Elijah Gilliam, 10 carries, 25 yards, and a touchdown. Joshua Wood, 4 carries for 12 yards. Bryson Donaldson, 3 carries for 10 yards. Mikey was credited with 4 carries for negative 28. This is sacks. Run blocking was really bad. Really bad. The touchdown run was nice. Elijah had another run in there that was pretty good. Other than that, I don't remember anything. I just remember the drive we ran it 3 times into a brick wall. Joshua Woods, he had one good run. That must have been his 9-yarder that I can remember. Otherwise, it was eh. And then Bryson, like Curtis said, 3 touches. And we've been talking about how great this kid looks. He gets 3 touches. You've burned his red shirt already. He should be touching the ball 10 times a game. At least. So, in my opinion, 1, that's play calling. And 2, I mean, he did touch the ball twice through the air. They're checkdowns, and they're bad checkdowns. So he touched the ball a total of 5 times. That's, in my opinion, unacceptable. We got to get him the ball. Running the ball, Caleb, go ahead.
It is unacceptable, but you also just have to look at total plays run. I mean, Fresno State got cooked on time of possession. Hawaii ran way more plays and had the ball for way longer. So when we're going 3 and out, like at least 50% of the drives, there just aren't other touches to give. So, I think that's more on the offense as a whole of not being able to execute. So that way the playmaker can touch the ball more.
I agree. Receiving stats. Raylan Sharp, 5 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Mac Delana, 5 catches for 38 yards. Jalen Moss, 4 for 21. Elijah Gilliam, 3 for 17. Richie Anderson, 2 for 14. Jake Boust had a catch. Did I miss that?
That can't be right.
That's not right. The dude has a club on. Tarwater did have 2 catches, I believe. I did see that. either way, I'm really not worried about that. What I do want to say is Raylan Sharp was open most of the night. He looked very good. We got to find him. Like Mac Delaney and Jalen Moss combined 9 catches. I mean, Hawaii has a decent defense. But to me, we've talked on here, Mac seems to be the go-to guy, or early on seemed to be the go-to guy that Mikey was like when he needed somebody to be there, he'd throw it to Mac. Mr. Dependable. Mm-hmm. Double D. Dependable Delana. But now it looks like it's moving to Raylan Sharp. He's open a lot of the time. But even then, we talked about Jalen Moss. Should be this threat. He's going to be the number 1 receiver. Granted, he's probably getting their number 1 corner each and every week. Okay, I'm not noticing these guys that often anymore. Like I'm noticing Raylan Sharp. I don't know. What are your thoughts on wide receiver and tight ends?
I would say, just generally speaking, watching the games, Mac tends to be open a lot.
That's true.
And Mikey just doesn't throw it his way. So I think that is probably the frustration, is quarterback not seeing the open guy, or whether he just has an explicit read from the coordinator saying, hey, this is where you're going on this play. So I mean, Mac is a guy that can stretch the field and can make really difficult catches that are contested. So yeah, obviously we need to be feeding him more. And Jalen Moss has that explosive capability too. Despite the struggles this year, I mean, he's still a really dynamic player. So, I mean, between the top 3 receivers with, those two and Raylan Sharp, I mean, they should be getting all the targets. I mean, yes, it's good to wrinkle in the tight ends, but I don't know. I feel like at this point, we need to get the ball to the sure-handed receivers on the outside.
And that's why I'm okay with Mikey taking risks, because Mac goes up and gets it. Raylan has sure hands. Jalen Moss can go grab it. We've seen that past 2 years. I mean, throw the ball up. Have him go get it. Go make a play. Those are 3 names. I'm okay with you doing that. Okay, here's the other thing before we move to defense. Thank you. Thanks for support, man. Need it now. My 2-year-old. Do you think the play calling is vanilla because McCann doesn't trust the O-line, or maybe Mikey?
Probably, but it just doesn't seem like the correct solution there. I mean, obviously we're both not play callers, but I mean, you can still utilize some creativity to manufacture some offense. I mean, I guess when you're expecting to be able to get 4 to 5 yards of carry with, the running game, and that doesn't happen, then that's probably going to, throw a wrench in the plan there, and then, messes everything else up. But yeah, I mean, it seems really conservative. And I guess if we're just trying to win the game by a field goal and trying to keep it low scoring, low possession, it's a difficult game to play when the offense isn't able to, score enough points. I mean, that seems like Captain Obvious there, but yes, to answer your question, very, very bland, very vanilla.
Yeah. I mean, I'll answer it as well. I think I'm going to answer how I answer most questions is it depends. It seems as though he doesn't trust. There is a lack of trust there, but when something has to get done, actually, I take that back. I think there is a total lack of trust. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think there's a total lack of trust because if we all see it, I'm sure he sees it. Now the problem is that, and someone said it in the comments on X last night or this morning, whatever. They said, gosh, of course I go blank on it right when I bring it up. Anyways, I'm going to leave you all on edge. Jeez Louise. This is what I get for not sleeping. Yeah, but I think it's a lack of trust. And yeah, okay, we'll move on. Jeez, sorry guys. Defense. Caleb, defense was great.
Mm-hmm.
Other than a couple plays, which it's going to happen. You're going to give up a couple plays. We have 2 touchdowns late in the game. They come back and win. Whether there's miscommunication. You gave up 14 in the fourth and 1 touchdown on the first drive. You gave a touchdown on the first drive and on the last 2 drives. You'd think 21 points is enough. Phoenix Jackson was a stud. I thought Tusivi Nomura was a stud. Malachi Langley had some nice hits. And to be honest, I thought the D-line played well. I thought Devo especially played well. What was your initial thought on the defense after the game?
I agree that they played really well, and I think played well enough to get a victory. I mean, if we're looking at total yards given up, I mean, Hawaii threw the ball, 53 attempts. They only had 240 yards passing. I mean, only 100 yards rushing. So, I mean, just looking at the numbers, Hawaii really wasn't able to do a ton, though they did control the ball a lot. But, I mean, the defense did a good job of forcing turnovers. Phoenix catching the tipped ball and obviously forcing the fumble late. So, yeah, I really don't have complaints. And, yeah, the 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter that they gave up were tough and obviously proved to be the difference. But, I mean, that was more a function of the offense not being able to move the ball and put the team in, plus field position. And when we're having to punt from our own territory and giving the other team short yardage, that's a problem too. So, overall, yeah, the defense is playing hard, and they're carrying this team, and they are fun to watch, especially Phoenix. I mean, he's a stud and a really fun player to watch.
Phoenix led the team in tackles with 9. He had 2 TFLs. He had a forced fumble. He had the pick 6 that Tuasivi he tipped in the air. And just so everyone knows, if you did not see the game and you want to know what happened. We were up 20-7 going into the fourth quarter, and we ended up forcing a fumble up 20-14 with about a minute left. I think Hawaii had 2 timeouts, or they have all 3. I do not remember.
They had all 3. I mean, on that drive, I mean, they were moving the ball down the field, and it looked like, well, how it looked like on the last drive, where it seemed like the touchdown was imminent, but Phoenix made a really good play, forced a fumble, and we were able to recover. I think it was Davis that recovered it. And then, I mean, really, we just needed one first down, and we win the game. And offense was not able to do that.
We ran the ball 3 times in a row for a total of negative 13 yards. Well, we ran the ball.
Mikey took a sack on 3rd down.
That's right.
So yeah, we were trying to throw for it, and then did like the one thing that you can't do. I mean, I guess it was better than like throwing the ball away because it forced them to call their timeout. But I mean, yeah, it was like a 10-yard loss, I think, and then we're punting from our own end zone. So yeah, all bad.
It's really bad. Caleb, opinion on running the ball 2 times in a row? Well, I asked that, but the opinion is it's the right thing to do. That's what you're supposed to do. We just didn't execute well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of comments calling for Joshua Wood in that situation to have an extra wrinkle, and I would have liked that too. But yeah, I don't know if he has earned the trust of the coaching staff, or the coaching staff is saying, okay, QB1, go win this game. So yes, very frustrating, but I can't really fault the call there because we want the clock to keep moving. So yeah, but to get stuffed a couple times, that's very frustrating. Credit to Hawaii's defense for selling out and making a stop.
Oh man, yeah, dude, it is that was rough. Special teams, really quick. Thoughts on special teams? I mean, Clay Lawrence, our punter, he got some work. 7 punts. He downed 4 of 7 in the 20, inside the 20. I like Clay. I like what I don't like seeing him on the field, but
right.
I'm happy with Clay.
Yeah, I mean, each game, I think he's getting better, getting more experience. I mean, the game at Michigan was the first competitive game of football he'd ever played, coming from Australia. So, yeah, I think that he's just going to get better over time. Hopefully, get stronger. I mean, the PAT block is unexcusable, especially on a point after. I mean, those should be automatic, but I mean, Jalen Moss had some scares this game and doesn't make me feel super confident. But then, did have a couple, somewhat electric returns too. So really up and down. But the 1 point proved to be costly.
I was thinking about this when I was watching it. I really like the style of punting that Hawaii used. Now, I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but to me, it would have been on purpose, where they kicked it low and drove the ball low, let it bounce, and kind of because it seemed like they knew Moss was gonna try and jump on it, and it only takes one time for that to bounce the wrong way, go off a fingertip, and now it's going the other way. I really like that. I wouldn't mind getting a nice line drive kicker, kicking it away from him, have him run after it. Now you risk the ball bouncing around and going out of bounds for a short punt, or out kicking your coverage. But I kind of liked it, especially with the way that Jalen Moss was scaring me, recovering those kicks. Oh man, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but yeah, you can't deny that he is electric when he gets in space.
Mm-hmm.
But you also can't be standing there still when there's grown men, 300-pounders running full speed at you. I don't know. I was, you know me. I'm a little iffy on Moss returning. So, anyways.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Is there anything in the chat that I missed?
I mean, there's some mention of on the fourth down, like instead of punting, taking a safety, and then we're up by 4, and then I guess maybe better field position if we're able to kick off from the 20 or 25, and they have to go a little bit longer than getting the ball in the 45. So I don't know, that's an interesting strategy.
Ricky says, "Screw it. Special teams MVP goes to the punter." Sad. We're happy with the punter. Andy says, "I saw something from Ricky. Also going to throw the Red Wave under the bus. There should be absolutely no reason to leave a winning game with 3 minutes left." I agree. That's why you just don't have a baby, don't go in the first place, and you can't say you left early. Or a wedding. Caleb, the past 2 years, we say that the games have been sold out, but we continue to have empty seats. I mean, even on the television, I'm looking at it and we just don't, the stadium doesn't look full.
Right.
It's a bad look. And then all over social media, it says sell out, sell out, sell out. I guess that's okay for people that don't watch the game, but it hurts me. And then especially with people leaving early, which I noticed when we're down in the end zone and our student section is only a quarter of the way full because we open it up to general admission, or our students don't go to the game. And that was a problem when I was there. Granted, when we were there, we were absolutely terrible.
It was the dark ages.
Yes, the one who must not be named. But but to me, when we were there, we had shirts off in the front row every week, or dressing up every week in the front row. And now I got 60, 70-year-olds in the front 3 rows of the dog pound. What's going on? This is okay. I guess sell the tickets, whoever you can get in there. That's fine. But we got the gray wave in the student section. And then we have, I saw a half row of females on their phones behind them. Please go up to the top, get out of view, please. Like this. And where are the hardcore Bulldog fans? Do we have any right now? I don't think so. I haven't seen any. I don't talk to anybody.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of diehards, but I mean, not 41,000. I mean, probably 10,000. I don't know. Maybe that's a low number, but I mean, the student section is fickle. I mean, it's going to be based on how the team's doing and, coming off, um, I don't know, a couple losses already in the season. I don't know how fired up the student section is when, there's other things that they could be doing on a Saturday night too. So I don't know. I think that they probably should stop like kind of pumping up the whole sellout thing when it's really clearly not not a full stadium. But I mean, maybe announce it in the stadium. But when they're tweeting about it, that's still kind of a weird look.
Cole says if it's not on Insta, you didn't go. It's terrible. I can't stand it. But Caleb, what could be more fun than going to a college football game, singing with the band, getting hammered before the game, singing with the band, yelling at Hawaii players, your rival, throwing screwdrivers? Like what could be more fun than that? I don't get it. It blows my mind. I wasn't a good football or basketball or baseball player, so I couldn't go play at Fresno State, but my dream was to be either on the field or in the student section. And we were there. And Caleb, that was your dream as well. We never missed, and we were crazy. I don't get it. I don't get it. So anyways. Okay. Let me gather my thoughts and let's get back to it. Is there anything about this game that we missed that we need to talk about?
I don't think so. I think we just about covered it. Going forward, defense has to continue what it's doing, and hopefully McCann can figure something else out to spark the offense and have the offense play consistently through the whole game. So I think that's going to be the big challenge. It seems like first drive or two, offense can do okay, and then defense makes an adjustment, and then we're stuck. So hopefully there's still buy-in from the team, and they're still going to play hard. I think coming back to Skipper being a motivator, this is going to be another test for him here. So can he get the guys fired up when we're just playing for a good bowl game, like, Sierra Nevada Sam's rankings. But, I mean, still 2 conference games, and obviously beating Colorado State would impact their season too. So still some to play for. But, yeah, it's going to be a test for Skipper to, keep the team motivated.
Yeah, I think so. I think he can. I think the boys really like him. I know they want to play for him. So we'll see. Mountain West scoreboard really quick, Caleb. Boise beat San Diego State. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up sharing the screen here. I don't know if you can really see that. But, there. San Diego State 24, Boise State 56. Ashton Jainty 31 carries, 149 yards. Boise's so good. I can't stand it that and I say it every week, Caleb. But you look at our roster, there's hype around our team. There's quarterback controversy at Boise. The defense is supposed to be as good. They're probably going to have the Heisman winner and probably represent the G5 in the first 12-team playoff. I mean, it's just, of course it is. Of course this is how it's going to be. Of course. They're good. They're legit. And Ashton Jainty is a lot of fun to watch. But
yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but we got to be pro Pac-12 now. So I'm glad that Boise is going to be representing the Pac-12 for us.
Oh man, Air Force lost to Army 20-3. Caleb, we play Air Force next, I believe, in Colorado Springs.
Yep.
With a 7 p.m. kickoff time. It's going to be a cold one. We need to watch film and see exactly what Army did.
Well, what Army did is they're undefeated this year. Like they're actually a really good team, and their quarterback I think their QB was out this game, but their starter could actually throw too. So they're quite the team to deal with right now.
It's actually a fun watch, Caleb, And the past 3 weekends, I have gone out of my way to watch Army play.
Love it.
It's a fun watch. Anyways, okay. Wyoming and New Mexico, of all teams, had the shootout 49-45. Wyoming won. Dampier led the team in rushing. Look at that. 207 yards on the ground.
Nice.
I didn't watch this game. I don't know what happened. I can't say anything.
Yeah, neither did I.
And bottom dwellers. Colorado State, they're on a winning streak. They're 4-0 in the Mountain West. They beat Nevada 38-21. It's looking like Colorado State is finding who they are and playing better football. Granted, I don't really think they played. I don't know their schedule, but I mean, they're 4-0 in the Mountain West, and we have them, and we get them at home, I believe.
Yep.
So
23rd.
Yeah, we better be ready. I feel everyone's pain, the Red Waves' pain, but we can still win 9 games, and a 9-game season is not too bad. Caleb, if we win out from here, and I asked the same question last week, if we win out from here, what do you think the feeling is like around Fresno State football at the end of the season, ending with 9 games and a bowl win, or 8 games and a bowl win?
I think that most of the fans are probably going to not care at that point. I think that obviously if we finish with a 4-game winning streak, I think that'll be big for hopefully recruiting success at the end of the year, maybe keeping Skipper as a head coach, which I do think is probably the right move. But I mean, what's going to make me more motivated is some changes on the offensive side, new coordinator, and maybe some hope that Keene won't be the quarterback next year. So, no, I hate saying that, but like to have more of the same next year is kind of depressing, and it will be kind of a long off season. So I'd almost rather have, the hope of someone else to lead the team, even if it's a big unknown, because then at least we can talk about it.
If we win 9 games, the rest of our wins are going to be like this. We're going to make the PAT, and we're going to win 21-7. Cam Lockridge will be in the game, hopefully, Lord willing. So they're going to be low scoring. Our defense is going to have to play great the rest of the year. I think our defense, our front 7, the plan is to have a preview, because we've missed the past 2 games for previews with everything going on in my world. Apologize. But with Air Force, our front 7 should stop them, and we should be good to go. Hi, you ready for bed? Okay. My 2-year-old says it's go time. So, okay, I won't keep you guys here anymore. And we have a team to support. As hard as it's going to be, Caleb, we will continue Beware of Bulldogs through the rest of this season. And then we can talk about it depending on how the season goes after that.
That's right. But hey, we got basketball coming up this week, which came out of nowhere, kind of. So at least
time.
Exactly, just in time. And hey, that team is undefeated right now, so we have that going for us.
True. Real quick, I saw somebody in the comments say 500 in the Mountain West. Do you think that's possible for basketball?
I don't know. I'll have to defer to you as kind of more of the basketball expert here. I don't really know what the rest of the conference is looking at. I mean, I know that I heard the Wahlberg give an interview where he said that was his goal for the season. So hopefully that's the coach setting expectations low to try to exceed them. So I think that, if we are at 500 this year in conference play, I will be happy. I mean, because this is stepping stones here. I mean, we're rebuilding the program entirely. Yes,
we are going to be way better. Don't hit any of those buttons, please. We're going to be way better, and I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. Hey, Uncle Cole says hi in the chat. Say hi. Say go Dogs. All right, we're still working on it. I got him to sing. Yeah, I got him to sing the fight song. Actually,
nice.
He actually knows the bum 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 bum. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, everybody. thank you for the support. Love chatting with you guys. And let's get ready for Air Force, shall we?
Yep.
Hey, for God so loved the world, he gave his one only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And we always gotta end the show with a Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Now if I can hit in stream with him.